Chuck is an American action-comedy, spy drama television series created by Josh Schwartz and Chris Fedak. The series is about an average computer whiz next door, named Chuck, played by Zachary Levi, who receives an encoded email from an old college friend now working for the Central Intelligence Agency. The message embeds the only remaining copy of a software program containing the United States' greatest spy secrets into Chuck's brain. Produced by College Hill Pictures, Fake Empire Productions, Wonderland Sound and Vision, and Warner Brothers Television. The series premiered on September 24, 2007, on NBC, airing on Monday nights at 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central. As the second season finished, flagging ratings put Chuck in danger of cancellation. But fans mounted a successful campaign to encourage NBC to renew the show. The campaign was unique in that fans specifically targeted a sponsor of the show, the Subway restaurant chain, leading to the chain striking a major sponsorship deal with NBC to help cover costs of the third season. The series' renewal was uncertain in each subsequent season. The fifth season was the last, beginning on October 28, 2011, and moving to Friday nights at 8 p.m., 7 Central. The series concluded on January 27, 2012 with a 2-hour finale. Plot: Chuck Bartofsky is in his mid-20s, working at a dead-end job as a computer service expert at a Burbank, California, consumer electronics chain store with his best friend, Morgan Grimes. Chuck is intelligent but lacks ambition. Also, he had been expelled from Stanford University on false charges that he cheated in one of his classes, which likely damaged his motivation and morale. His sister, Ellie, and her boyfriend, Devon, Captain Awesome Woodcomb, are doctors who constantly encourage Chuck to make progress in his professional and romantic life. Bryce Larkin, Chuck's former Stanford University roommate and now a Central Intelligence Agency agent, steals the Intersect, the entire merged database of the CIA and National Security Agency, and destroys the computer storing it. The sole surviving copy becomes subliminally embedded in Chuck's brain via encoded images when he opens an email from Bryce. The NSA's Major John Casey and CIA agent Sarah Walker are dispatched to investigate. The Intersect causes Chuck to receive involuntary flashes of information from the database, activated by triggers such as faces, voices, objects, and keywords. In order to protect his family and friends, Chuck must keep his second occupation a secret. Casey and Walker are assigned to watch over Chuck. They are forced to establish an uneasy alliance and cover identities. Walker poses as Chuck's girlfriend and takes the job at a fast food restaurant near the Buy More. Casey reluctantly becomes part of the Buy More sales team. The main antagonists driving the plot are a series of rogue spy cabals, first internal to the United States intelligence community and then global in scope. A core part of the threat is the danger of the Intersect being either captured, making Chuck as much a liability as an asset to the government, or replicated, making Chuck obsolete or outmatched by less scrupulous spies. Chuck, Sarah, and Casey all face professional conflicts as they grow to respect each other. A genuine romantic interest develops between Chuck and Sarah. Chuck's desire to maintain his close relationships and eventually return to a normal life is challenged by the dangers and growing responsibilities of his secret life, so that he gradually becomes a more competent, confident, and willing spy. In the course of events, Chuck unravels mysteries from his life before the series, often dealing with the Intersect, such as why his parents left, why Bryce got him kicked out of Stanford, and why he's unusually suited for the Intersect. Meanwhile, Casey and Sarah confront unresolved issues from their lives before the series, including their families, Sarah's history with Bryce, and the spies they previously worked with. And as Chuck grows more comfortable with his own role, those closest to him are gradually drawn into his spy life. Cast and characters. Main cast: recurring cast, Tony Todd as CIA Director Langston Graham, Matthew Bomer as Bryce Larkon, C.S. Lee as Harry Tang, Rachel Bilson as Lou Pallone, Minnie Andon as Karina Miller, Tony Hale as Emmett Milbauge, John Larroquette as Roan Montgomery, Nicole Richie as Heather Chandler, Jordana Brewster as Jill Roberts, Chevy Chase as Ted Roark, Scott Bakula as Stephen Bartofsky, Brandon Ruth as Daniel Shaw, Kristen Kruk as Hannah, Steve Austin as Hugo Panzer, McKenna Melvin as Alex McHugh, Linda Hamilton as Mary Elizabeth Bartofsky, Timothy Dalton as Alexei Volkov, Mercedes Masson as Zandra Rizzo, Lauren Cohan as Vivian MacArthur, Robin Givens as Jane Bentley, Richard Berge as Clyde Decker, Carrie Ann Moss as Gertrude Verbansky, Angus McFadden as Nicholas Quinn. Cara Davy, the character, departed after the second season, then returned for one or more guest appearances in the third season. Cara, the character, made a few guest appearances in the third season, and became a recurring cast member in the fourth. Cara, the character, made a guest appearance in the fourth season, and returned for a recurring role in the fifth. Production conception: the show is a mashup. It's a combination of one part The Office, one part 24, one part Alias. When you mash those shows together, what happens? What we were really excited about is if you built the show like something like The Office, where you essentially met all these characters and you loved them, and then how terrifying it would be if Sydney Bristow or Jack Bauer suddenly came into the office, because you knew, when those people showed up, that someone was going to get shot, and someone was going to get tortured, and someone was going to get killed. That's where the initial germ of the Chuck show came from. Co-creator Chris Fedak, Josh Schwartz and Chris Fedak wrote the script for the first episode, which was initially given the pilot commitment by NBC before a pilot order was greenlit by the network in January 2007. Schwartz and Fedak both attended the University of Southern California. Fedak pitched the idea to Schwartz, who agreed to develop the project with him. Joseph McGinty-Nicol, Schwartz's fellow executive producer on The OC, directed the first hour of the series and consequently became an executive producer via his production company, Wonderland Sound and Vision. Fedak, Peter Johnson, Scott Rosenbaum, Matthew Miller, and Ellison Adler also serve as co-executive producers. NBC gave the series an early pickup and a 13-episode order on May 10, 2007. On November 26, 2007, TV Guide reported that NBC had picked up the series for a full 22-episode season. Casting: Zachary Levi and Adam Baldwin were the first two to be cast in February 2007 in the roles of Chuck Bartofsky and veteran NSA agent Major John Casey, respectively. Fedak always had Baldwin in mind for the role of John Casey, and the producers found that the actor was a perfect fit for the character during their first casting session. Relative newcomer Yvonne Strahovski was chosen for the female lead role of what was then CIA officer Sarah Kent in the same month. Casting continued throughout March, with Sarah Lancaster, Joshua Gomez, and Natalie Martinez landing the parts of Dr. Ellie Bartofsky, Morgan Pace, and Kayla Hart, respectively. The Kayla Hart character was dropped before filming because creators Chris Fedak and Josh Schwartz found it unlikely and too complicated to the storyline that two women would be pining over Chuck. Morgan's surname was later changed to Grimes, and Sarah's surname was changed to Walker. Filming locations: although Chuck's apartment is set in Echo Park, the pilot was shot in El Cabrillo in Hollywood. After the series was picked up, the apartment and the building's courtyard were recreated on a Warner Brothers soundstage. Aerial views throughout the show combined shots of Echo Park and El Cabrillo. The exterior shots of the Burbank by Mall, where Chuck and Morgan work, are of a former Mervyn's store in the Fallbrook Mall in Canoga Park.